And this is the presentation, the PowerPoint presentation for you. So, restoring the political as a dimension, the political, in the 21st century, from Yael Tamir, between liberty and belonging. We are living in an era of paradoxes. Although we are more interconnected than ever through technology, and we are witnessing what Hannah Arendt called the eclipse of the political. The public sphere has been gradually absorbed by cold technocratic bureaucracy and an abstract globalism that speaks to us of universal rights, but leaves us without a political hope. The thesis I propose today is as follows. The authentic restoration of the political in the 21st century cannot be achieved through mere efficient administration. It requires a hybrid synthesis between two seemingly opposing forces. The Socratic capacity for action, theorized by Arendt, and the need for cultural rootedness, supported by Yael Tamir. This paper explores how national identity, viewed through the lens of liberal nationalism, can once again become the soil upon which freedom grows, offering a balanced response to the current phenomena of violent resacralization we are observing today. Diagnosing the crisis, the loss of public space. Drawing from Arendt, our diagnosis begins with the transformation of citizens into animal laborers, in Latin, in a society dominated by consumption and biological survival. Politics has ceased to be an action, as in praxis, and has become a labor of administration. Arendt warns us to the political disappears when we mistake the govern of things for action among people. Abstract globalism has acted as a solvent, diluting the space of appearance. Space of appearance is an expression. That fragile space where citizens gather to speak and act in concrete. The result, the individual is left in a state of moral isolation. Major decisions no longer belong to communities, but to unelected experts, producing that Raymond Aron termed cabinet politics, completely devoid to the breadth of citizen participation. When citizens no longer have a place to appear as unique individuals, they become mere statistical figures and the political dies. The tension between the sacred and the secular. The restoration of the political runs into a fundamental problem. Modernity has disenchanted the world, as Marcel Gosset noted, leaving behind a vacuum of legitimacy. Carl Schmitt argued in his famous political theology that all significant concepts of the modern theory of the state are secularized theological concepts. The state took over the attributes of divinity, but with radical secularization, and sacred center vanished. The question that haunts our century is, can the political survive without some forms of a secularized sacred? Gaucher is pessimistic, observing that the exit from religion has led to an atomization that makes generating a collective will almost impossible. Charles Taylor, sorry?
You do. The president.
Next slide.
No, it's not next.
I have some more to say.
Sorry.
That's right. Yes, to take it.
Okay.
You can operate on the laptop.
No, it is done.
Yes.
Like this?
Oh, but no, the other.
Yes. Taylor adds that the modern individual suffered from a loss of horizon of meaning. Within this vacuum, the temptation of forced resacralization appears, the transformation of politics into fanatical dogma. The Arendtian restoration seeks a middle path. The sacred should not be a state religion, but rather the sacredness of the act of promising and founding a common world together. Yael Tamir and the nation as an architecture of liberty. This is where the central pillar of the restoration comes in. Yael Tamir's liberal nationalism. Tamir provides a necessary correction to Arendt's vision. She demonstrates that Socratic freedom cannot function in a vacuum. For people to step out into the public square and engage in dialogue, they need a context of choice. The nation, in Tamir's view, is not a mystical dogma or an exclusivistic ethnic entity, but a cultural architecture. It is the national home that protects identity and, above all, fosters the mutual trust without which political dialogue and economic solidarity are impossible. Tamir criticized abstract globalism for ignoring the human need for belonging. She proposed the liberal nation as a secular space that replaced the old religious unity. Without this cultural home built from language, history, and tradition, citizens become apathic. The nation is therefore a battery that stores the energy required from Arendt's space of appearance to become reality. The identity engine. Nathan Sharansky. This is with the Tamir, with the Yael Tamir, the second author that I integrated starting from this year in my course about multicultural and conflict.
Romans?
Sorry?
They are Romanians?
Yeah. The identity engine, so Nathan Sharansky. The psychological dimension of this restoration is provided by Sharansky, who analyzes the collapse of the political through the prism of his experience in the Soviet Gulag. He criticizes the identity zero of radical European secularism, arguing that a person who belongs to no community, national or religious, will never have a moral strength to resist tyranny. For Sharansky, identity is not a barrier to freedom, but its very source of energy, because he distinguished between fierce societies where the political is dictated by fear, and free societies. However, a free society is devoid of identity becomes deeply vulnerable. Moral identity is the refusal to live in a lie, and this refusal springs from belonging to something larger than oneself. Thus, Sharansky complements Socrates like that. Critical thinking tells you how to resist, but identity tells you why to do it. I will skip this case study about Trump administration.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
You don't want to do that? Okay. So, applying these theoretical frameworks to current reality, the Trump 2.0 phenomenon can be understood through two parallel lenses. One, first of these lenses is the lens of sovereignty will, according to Schmidt and Arendt. We observe that we observe the risk of the will to the people being re-sacralized and transformed in a new political religion. When a leader becomes the sole interpreter of the popular will, Arendtian plurality is crushed. This represents a restoration of the political true force, which risks becoming illiberal. And the second lens is the lens of identity under siege, according to Sharansky and Tamir. On the other hand, we observe the reaction of citizens who feel that restoring the national sacred is the only way to halt their cultural cancellation by technocratic globalism. These people are not seeking a dictatorship, but a context of choice, where their identity is no longer treated as a stigma. The grand challenge of the 21st century, exemplified here, is whether this identitary revival will lead toward a liberal restoration, where the nation protects the individual, or toward an authoritarian sacralization, where the nation absorbs the individual. Toward the new space of appearance, the restoration of the political in the 21st century is not a nostalgic return to the Greek polis or to the 19th century. It is a hybrid synthesis. The solution I propose in the model of Socratic identity is that a passionate participation in the life of a democratic nation, according to Tamir, coupled with a critical and unifying, unyielding exercise of individual judgment, according to Arendt. This restoration is finalized by localizing power in what Thomas Jefferson and Hannah Arendt called small republics, citizens' council, local communities, and spaces of dialogue anchored in identity but dedicated to pluralism. So, in the end, the conclusion, first, the key concepts I've integrated into this presentation, which I can develop, is natality to Arendt, the belief that we can begin something entirely new through concerted action. context of choice, according to Tamir, recognizing that national culture makes freedom real and actualized rather than just theoretical. And the last concept is moral identity, according to Sharansky. That means the courage to belong in order to be truly free. In conclusion, the quote Jefferson, public liberty consists in having a share in the government. The restoration of the political occurs whenever we cease to be mere animal laborers and become citizens who shape a common world, as wise as Socrates and he's deeply rooted as member of the living nation. And now I will end with many thanks for Father Professor Tura
Thank you.
and for listening.